Welcome to the world of duel monsters.
Hi, what's up YouTube Metaverse? This is your boy MetaBroJake, and you already know I represent the Super Meta Bros. And today, you guys, I got a special deck profile for you all. This is the one that I've been promising you guys for the longest time. And since the ban list is finally over, bam, we got to bring it right here to the channel, baby. So who am I here with today? My man behind the mic and behind the cam.
Yo, we got Max over here.
Woo! What's up, you guys? We are the Meta Bros, man. Welcome back to the channel. This is our updated Toon deck profile for the February 2022 format, you guys. I have been play testing this deck non-stop, man, online. I've been playing it on Master Duel as well, you guys. So without further ado, man, it's been long enough already, you guys. But let's get into this insanely Toon deck profile, baby.
Alright, so my main man Jake here is going to break it down for you guys. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it, my dudes. So starting off with the monsters, of course, we're going to start off with the 3. Toon Blackluster Soldier. This card, you definitely need to run him at 3. I've seen a lot of builds running him at 2. But, you know, he could pitch himself to special summon himself. So I think 3 is the proper number for this one. You pitch level 8 or higher Toon cards to special summon him, which he is a level 8. He also has the amazing effect, dude, to target one card on the field and banish it. So he could get rid of all your floodgates. He could get rid of the pesky back row, you know, the mirror forces, all that kind of stuff. But if you do that effect, you cannot attack. So this is one of the very few, to be precise, he's one of 2 Toon monsters that can only attack on the first turn. So very, very good card, man. Toon BLS in the collector's rare is a mandatory for any Toon build, man. But yeah, he is expensive. So
one of the win conditions,
yeah,
for sure.
Definitely one of the win conditions, dude. And then we're going into like the next best set of monsters. So we got the 2 Toon Dark Magicians, and I run the 2 Red Eyes Toon Dragon. Now 2 and 2 I think is the proper ratio for these monsters. Toon Dark Magician, you have to pitch a Toon card from your hand in order to either special summon from the deck, ignoring and summoning conditions, or adding a Toon spell or trap from the deck to hand. So that's very, very good, but you just got to have that fodder in hand to pitch. And then Red Eyes Toon Dragon's very good because once per turn he could target 1 Toon card in your hand, special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this is just easy ways to get you towards that Toon BLS, which you need on the field to create that board presence and to create that pressure for you to win the game. So 2 and 2, you don't want to see this at 3, you guys, only because if you draw multiples in your first hand, man, you're most likely going to lose. Multiples do not do good in this deck. It's good to see one or the other. Rarely see both, but you never want to see multiples of one or the other, man. Yeah, and then also too, you guys, they are, if you guys haven't noticed, they are level 7, so you could go in your rank 7 plays. They could pretty much special summon each other if you really wanted to, and then you could go into overlay play. It's just an option. But in this strategy, in this build, you definitely want to keep the Toon monsters on board. You know, you only want to go into the extra deck if it's absolutely necessary and you just got to get over something, you know.
Right.
But most of the time, you just want to control it with the Toons. So 2 and 2. For the normal summon, this card should very well just be a Toon. I'm gonna call it Toon Blackstone of Legend, man, because this card right here, it just gets you your Toon Red Eyes. It's the normal summon for the deck. It's a level 1. So what his effect is, you normal summon it, then you tribute to special summon the Red Eyes Toon Dragon directly from the deck. It also has a secondary effect that's really good for the Toons as well. If this card and Red Eyes Toon Dragon are both in the graveyard, you could activate this card's graveyard effect, which this card will shuffle the Red Eyes Toon back into your deck, and this will go added back to your hand. So you can only use one effect per turn. So it just sets you up for the next turn pretty much to get the Red Eyes Toon back on the field. So
but the synergy is there because it's a Red Eyes card.
yeah, exactly, dude. It's a Red Eyes monster, so that's why you're able to special summon out the Red Eyes Toon Dragon.
It's so free.
It's also a level 1, so this card is like pretty much the only card that can be hit by Effect Veiler or Infinite Imperm, because as long as you control Toon Kingdom on the field, any of your Toons are unaffected from being targeted. They cannot be targeted, so this is like the only card that could be hit with those hand traps. And it's a good level 1, meaning you could go into like Link Karibo play or something if you absolutely had to get rid of them. So
relinquished anima.
Yes, sir. You know, if they make that mistake of putting it in that right zone, you could always go into the anima and steal them. So Blackstone of Legends definitely at 3. You need to see that Red Eyes. And then here are my one-ofs. These are the last 3 monsters I run in the deck. They're all Toon monsters, so I'm gonna go with the 1 Toon Harpy Lady. I decided to go her at 1 because she's a searcher, and her effect is if you control pretty much Toon World and another Toon monster, she could special summon herself from the hand to pop a back row that your opponent controls. So it's just another way to get over back row, because back row decks really hurt this deck. You know, if they have anti-spell fragrance or stuff where I can't activate the spells, it really hurts. So this is just a way to get over that. I also run the 1 Toon Dark Magician Girl in this new build. I wasn't running it in the previous one, but I figured this way you could put more pressure on your opponent. This is the 2nd Toon monster that could attack directly on the first turn. The only thing that's bad about Toon Dark Magician Girl is if Toon Kingdom gets destroyed on the field, the Toon Dark Magician Girl goes with it. And that's why I limit all my old school Toons. Like, I usually weren't even playing on any of those old school Toons, but Toon Dark Magician Girl, she makes the list this time because she actually does pretty good. You know, being able to beat over for 2K right out the gate.
Applying pressure right away, maybe for 5K with the BLS is pretty good.
Yeah, dude, for sure. And then also my last monster in the field, I really didn't play this one too often, but I'm gonna go with the 1 Ancient Gear Golem for this build. He's a 3K beater. He has Summoning Sickness, but his effect is if he declares an attack, your opponent can't activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage calculation. So, you know, he's always, if you put him on board, he puts the pressure on, and you always want to declare the attack with him first because his attack's going to go through no matter what, almost.
Safe hit, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe hit. So, and also, he's a level 8, you guys, so he's perfect pitch fodder to special summon your Toon BLS from your hand if you need to be. If you need to just get rid of him, get that BLS on the field, because the BLS is the #1 monster you want on the field to control with the Toons.
The old 1-for-1, right?
Yeah, the good old 1-for-1. So that's the last of my monsters. $13 monsters total in this build, you guys. I try to keep my monsters to a minimum because the spells are the ones that are going to start the combos and stuff for this deck. So there are only 13 monsters in this build, you guys, and no hand traps. So I'm going to go into the spells. First spell, obviously, got to go with the 3 ulti Toon Kingdoms. Toon Kingdom, man, this is the heart and soul of this deck. And I just wish there was a way the Toons could play kind of without it, but in this build, you kind of need it. I mean, it's part of the win condition. So whenever this card's activated, you banish the top 3 cards of your deck after resolution, you guys. That's the most important thing. If this card gets hit with a Cosmic Cyclone or a Twin Twister gets chained to it on its activation, you do not have to banish the 3 cards. Only on resolution of this card's effect, you have to banish. And then also, while this card's face up on the field, its name becomes Toon World. So anything that applies to Toon World, it's because of this card. And while this card's face up on the field, your opponent cannot target Toon cards with card effects, which is great, dude. It makes that win con a lot better. And then also, if your Toon monsters happen to get destroyed while this card's on the field, you could just banish 1 card off the top of your deck to protect them. Whether it's a trap card, spell card, or a monster card that attacks over them by battle, card effect, whatever, man. Toon Kingdom, definitely the best field spell in the game, you guys. And your boy MetaBroJake said it.
Just gets you keep going, right?
It's super good, man. Super good. Next Toon card we're playing, we got to max out on the 3 Toon page flips. This is just an easy special summon, easy way to get your Toons out on the field. You just got to have 3 Toons with different names inside your deck. And that's where kind of the Blackstone of Legend comes into play a lot more, is because most of the time you'll have 2 names. You know, you probably could start running through your resources a little fast, and you might banish a few monsters off the activation of Toon Kingdom. But with the Blackstone of Legend and a Red Eyes Toon being in your graveyard, you could activate the Blackstone of Legends effect to shuffle the Red Eyes Toon back, and that will give you the 3rd name to make this live again. So, Toon page flip, it's a very good card to open up a 1 of. It's kind of bad when you open up 2, but this is 1 card you kind of want to see at 1, and then if you need the rest of them, you search into it. Because, you know, you want to get the specific cards out first. Once you have your board established, this card kind of, it's not dead, but it always becomes pitch fodder for like Toon Dark Magician, a special summon, whatever Toon you choose, pretty much. So just it being the Toon name, got to run it at 3, you guys.
And that's CR at that.
And this is my favorite looking Toon card, man, of the new era. Toon Bookmark, man, collector's rare, you guys got him. This card right here is the nuts. This is the best support card for the Toons up to date, I think. It's just another searcher like Toon Table of Contents, but it lets you add any card that has Toon World in its text. and that includes Comic Hand, you guys. If you guys don't know about that, man, Comic Hand will just steal your opponent's monster, and it becomes a Toon, and it's just wild, man. This card searches it out, and it has an incredible secondary effect that if this card's in the graveyard and your Toon Kingdom gets destroyed, you could banish this card from the graveyard to save it, dude, once. So, man, Toon Bookmark, you always want to try to search this one out. It's a once per turn. The effect to search is once per turn. But if your opponent hits it and it goes to the graveyard and you don't get the search, at least it's protection for your Toon Kingdom inside the graveyard. So, it's pretty good, man. This card's really, really good. Gotta max it out at 3. Just another good generic searcher for the archetype. And then speaking of good generic searchers for the archetype, you gotta run the 3 Toon table of contents. This card is not once per turn. This card lets you add any Toon card with Toon in its name from deck to hand. So this just gets you so much, man. It can't, unfortunately, it can't get you the Comic Hand, but it could get you. This could lead into a Toon Bookmark, which leads you into a Comic Hand. Nice. So it's really, really good, man. And if you could open up all 3 of these in your first hand, and you'll be golden.
Yeah, use all 3 in one turn.
Yeah, if you absolutely had to, you know. But Toon table of contents, very, very good at 3. You need this at 3. And then going into my last Toon card, it's not really a Toon card, but it is a Toon card, is 2 Comic Hands. Now, in my previous build, I was running this at 1 because it is kind of bricky to open up with 2 of these, and it does happen. You know, you need Toon Kingdom on the field in order for this card to become live, but you also need your opponent to have a monster as well. It has to be a face-up monster too. If it's a face-down defense, you can't steal it. It has to be a face-up attack monster.
Yeah, because it's an equip, right?
Yeah, so your Comic Hand though, and more times than not, I've been playing this at a few of the locals and stuff, the second Comic Hand does come up, you guys. If they could get over that first Comic Hand, you definitely need the follow-up one. The one that's going to win you the game is usually the second one. So it definitely puts pressure because once you steal the monster, you could attack directly on that exact same turn. It does not have summoning sickness or anything. So very, very good card. Comic Hand at 2. And like I said before, you could search this with Bookmark. That's it for my Toon spells. Going into my other generic staple spells. We got 1 Terraforming to get you into that kingdom. I got the 1 Called by the Grave. Just in case they try to hit you with the hand trap, or if you got to banish the DPE, man, because DPE definitely hurts this deck, man. Being able just to pop something once and then come back and pop again, that's kind of rough. This Toon deck has a better matchup against a Dragoon than it does with a DPE. So this Called by the Grave, usually what I do with this, I will hold this mofo in my hand until DPE comes out. And then once he comes out and activates his effect once, I'll make sure to chain this Called by the Grave and banish him, dude, before the end phase, before he can come back. So, very, very good card. This is something new from the recent ban list that I'm trying out in this deck. I'm running 3 Regekis, guys. This card is not once per turn. This card could just blow up your opponent's monsters. And it actually has been working out pretty good testing online. Because most of the time, your opponent will be able to negate 1, but if you open up a 2, you drop the second one and blow up the field. If they have a Dragoon or something like that on the field that cannot be destroyed by card effects, it's still really good because you could take out all the other monsters on the field and you could just bait out Dragoon's effect. After his effect's baited, you could go ahead and set up your Toon board. So it's not a bad card. And then worst comes to worst, if this ain't working for the matchup you're playing, you could always side it out. So Regeki at 3 in the main. And then now for some back row hate, because you need that back row removal in this, is I run the 3 Cosmic Cyclones. This card right here, instead of Twin Twisters where you have to pitch a card from the hand in order to pop 2 things in the back, this deck right here, you really do not want to send anything to the grave. You don't want to discard anything. Everything in your hand is a resource and you need to maximize it. This is pretty good, man. So Cosmic Cyclone at 3, I think it's mandatory, man, in this trap format that we're coming into. And then also, one up for back row hate, the Harpy's Feather Duster, man. This card's epic, paired up with one of the cards that I run in my side deck. I'll talk about it when I get there, you guys, but Harpy's Feather Duster's just, it's not, I mean, it's only a 1-of, but there's no restriction to it. You just you blow up all your opponent's back row, man, and it just puts pressure on your opponent, dude, whether they got to negate it or they're going to let it ride. Either way, it's kind of bad for your opponent, so it's a very good 1-of, Harpies. And then last but not least for my spells, got to run some more draw power, you guys. I run the 3 Pot of Extravagance. In this particular build, I really don't care about the extra deck. The extra deck situational. You can definitely go into things as you need them. But like I said before, the main objective of this Toon deck is to lock your opponent with the Toon monsters themselves. So my extra deck, it really doesn't matter. So I chose Extravagance over Prosperity because this lets you draw 2 cards rather than just pluck 1 from the deck. So a little bit more draw power I think is good. The ratios that I have, everything seems pretty good, you know. Most of the time you'll draw into the cards you need off of the draw too. So Pot of Extravagance at 3 this time. And that's it for my spells. That's 26 spells in the deck, you guys. Pretty hefty spell lineup. So something like Anti-Spell Fragrance could really hurt you guys. That's why I run all that back row hate. You know, I'm glad Imperial Order's off. We don't have to deal with that no more. But Anti-Spell Fragrance is definitely something that could hurt this deck, man. That's why the Cosmic Cyclones are so important nowadays. That's why the Harpies are so important. I didn't play Lightning Storm in this deck, you guys, for 2 reasons. Rageki's at 3, meaning you could just blow up the front, no problem. And then I main the 3 Cyclones because that kind of takes care of the back row with the Harpies. So having Lightning Storm instead of Rageki, I think was the worst choice out of the 2 because most of the time you'll have at least 1 face-up card on the field, and you want to be able to activate that Rageki whenever need be. You know, you don't want to have to flip your cards face down or do some weird stuff in order to activate that Lightning Storm going second. Rageki was a better choice in this particular build than Lightning Storm. That's why I chose that. So now going into the traps, I only got 3 traps in this build. I'm running the 1 Toon Terror. This is the counter trap for the Toons. It's searchable. The only restriction is you need to have a Toon, you gotta have a Toon monster and Toon Kingdom on the field at the same time in order to resolve this effect, which is very situational, but in my experience, most of the time it's either gonna be pitch fodder for your Toon Dark Magician, or it's going to be something that you search out because you already have a decent board established with your Toons. It's something to search out and set on the field to prevent your opponent from trying to break your board. Next trap card, the 1 Toon Briefcase. Now this card is actually the better of these 2 Toon spells, in my opinion, because all you do for Briefcase is you just need to control a Toon monster. So most of the time when your opponent's playing against this deck, they're going to know to hit the Kingdom. That's going to be the #1 thing. Once they get rid of the Kingdom, your Toon monsters will still be on board, which means that this card will still be live. So Toon Briefcase, it just shuffles your opponent's once your opponent summons a monster while you control a Toon monster, it shuffles it right back into the deck. So something good to go against like DPE or something too, you know? And last but not least, for the trap, I run the Meta Bros had to run the Metaverse, dude, because you got to get you to that Toon Kingdom, you guys, as soon as you can. This card's really good because if your opponent tries to pop it with like a Twisters or something, you could just chain it, either get it to your hand, or this card could activate it directly to the field. If you activate Metaverse and you choose to activate it directly to the field, you do not have to banish your 3 cards. It activates it directly from the deck. So something important to remember.
Jake didn't mention it's a non-targeting shuffle.
Oh yeah, the Toon Briefcase is non-targeting either, you guys. So yeah, this one, it just sends it right back to the deck or the extra deck, whatever monster your opponent's summoning. So it's very, very good. This is my small trap lineup. Like I said, like with the Ragekis and stuff, if you're finding that these ain't doing the trick for you going game 1 or game, you know, whether you're going first or second, you can always side these out for something else. You guys will see the side and you know what the side has to offer, but this is my basic Toon trap lineup. And that's it for the build, you guys. It's a total of 42 cards in this build. Now, let's move on to the extra deck, baby. Starting things off in the extra deck, you guys. Gotta run 3 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragons. Now, I maxed this out because, you know, you're banishing off of the Extravagance. This is the 1 XYZ monster. It's a rank 7. This is the one you're going into the most because you're gonna, most of the time you can special summon out 3 Toons. You get the Red Eyes, you get the Dark Magician, then you get the BLS. If you add all those attacks up, it's 7,900. If you're able to, you know, hold the board for 1 turn and then on the following turn you're able to attack with all 3. That'll be 79 damage. You overlay the Red Eyes and the Dark Magician into Red Eyes Flare Metal. And this card's effect, man, if your opponent activates an effect, as soon as it resolves, they get burned for, 500. What is it? 500 damage, dude. So it'll win you the game. And this is a very strategic move too, you know, if you're playing this deck and you know a card like, or a deck like PK or something that's just gonna keep using cards after card effects, man, you could really hurt them with this or it'll stop their play a little bit. They'll have to kind of play around this. So I max out on this because some might get banished with the extravagance. And then my other reliable rank 7 that I play in the extra deck is number 11, Big Eye. I rarely go into this nowadays. I used to go into it a little bit more before in previous formats. But it's a rank 7. It lets you target one card your opponent controls and you take control of it. But this card can attack the turn you do that. So, I mean, it's really good to steal one of your opponent's monsters. You don't have to give it back unless they take it back some kind of way or it gets destroyed. Goes back to the grave. But number 11, Big Eye, it comes up once in a while, man. I ain't gonna lie. And then for my rank 8 stuff, I run the 1 Ding. Because there are times where you go into you either got 2 BLSs or you have 1 BLS and you comic hand one of your opponent's level 8s. You could go into the Ding to get like 2 pops, which is pretty cool. And then I also got the number 97 Draglubion, because you could just go into the Draglubion play, which is that, the number 100, the number 39, and the number 84 Pain Gainer. This kind of all gets you on the same thing to the Zeus. You could either kind of do this play, or you could do this play with the Zeus. So, you know, summon the Draglubion, you summon the number 100, attach this to it, you know, to give you a high beater like that. Or you could just go into the Pain Gainer, go into the Zeus to add the extra material. And, you know, you can't go wrong with the Zeus. And sometimes you can't go wrong with the number 100. It's just vulnerable to card effects and stuff like that. This is just if you absolutely have to go into it. Because like I said, man, the main objective is for the Toons to control the board, you know. But sometimes you got to do some weird funky things to get over things. So this would be like a little package right here, you know, just to get over anything weird. So I run this. You know, a lot of the pieces might get banned off the extravagance anyway, or banished. So, you know, it happens. But going on to the links now. I got 2 Link Kribos. This is just in case they hit the egg with the Imperm or an effect veiler. You could just link off and then you'll have him in the graveyard for his graveyard effect to go off. Very good. I run the 1 Anima. Same thing like Link Kuribo. If the egg gets hit with the card with the Imperm or effect veiler, and luckily your opponent put it in a zone where this card could steal, and then you could just, you know, link it off, steal one of your opponent's monsters. I run the 1 Nightmare Phoenix. It's another way to get over back row, man, because back row hate does hurt this deck. I mean, floodgates hurt this deck, you know. Back row hate is what this deck has that could stop that. So this deck could keep going. So Nightmare Phoenix. The only bad thing about this Phoenix is you have to discard one from the hand in order to pop something. And that's kind of rough, man. But that's like worst case scenario where you have to get over something, you know. So that's not really played as much, but it's just there for utility. And also last card I run is the 1 Barricade Board Blocker. Now this card's really good. During the end phase this card is summoned, you could discard 1 card and then you could add the field spell back to the hand if you have a Toon Kingdom in your graveyard, and that just gives you fodder for next play. When you could either use the Toon Kingdom on your next play, or it'd be pitch fodder for the Dark Magician, so you could special summon that BLS or whatever you need to keep your play going. Extra deck's pretty nice, 15 cards. Now, let's move on to the side deck, you guys, because the side deck's going to need a little bit of explaining. A little disclosure, you guys. This side deck right here for this Toon deck, man, it's wild. You know, it looks weird. Visually, it looks weird, you guys, but you guys got to bear with me because this is actually pretty crazy, man. These are some power trap cards that could actually help the deck rather than hinder it, and that's why I decided to play. But let's get into it so you guys see what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to start off with the spell. Everyone should know you got to play some kind of monster effect negation, and Dark Ruler No More, man, is just the one. It's free. You don't have to pitch anything. The only thing you're sacrificing is your battle phase. You can still destroy cards on the field, but just they take no damage. And that's perfect for the Toons because most of the Toons have summoning sickness anyways. And most of the time when you summon your BLS, before you declare that attack, like, you're gonna banish something on the field first, you know. So being able to use this and then to get the BLS, and at least you could banish something, you know, it's not a completely wasted turn, is actually really, really good, man. Dark Ruler No More will just shut down your opponent's board and then you just go ham with the Toons. That's the only spell I play in my side deck. All the rest is traps, you guys. So first traps I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna start it off with the 2 Torrential Tribute and the 1 Red Reboot. Now, Red Reboot's still at 1. Very, very good card. This is a game-winning card right here. There's a combo with this card and Harpy's Feather Duster where if you could Red Reboot your opponent and you have them set the traps down, you just activate Harpy's Feather Duster and literally blow up their whole freaking back row, dude. And it's amazing. It's a great feeling. It's a really good feeling. And then, you know, it just pushes for game though too, man. Most of the time your opponent can't come back if they put a lot of their resources down on the field and they lost them. It's gonna hit them hard. Torrential Tribute, the reason I have this card at 2 is because it's just another destruction card where Toon Kingdom could protect the Toons, so it's not really affected by it. It's more of blowing up your opponent's monsters, and then you just banish off the top to protect your Toons, and then you'll be able to swing in still with your Toon monster, so it's very, very good. This is one of the cards where I'm kind of on the fence still about whether I should put something else in it, but for the meantime, it serves its purpose like Regeki or something like that, just blowing up the field and gaining monster advantage over your opponent with the Toons. So 2 Torrential Tributes. I sacrificed the third one to put in the Red Reboot. And then another 3-up trap I'm running. There can only be one, you guys. Now, what's beautiful about the Toons is that a lot of those Toon monsters are different types, so you don't have to really worry about this card too much. But in certain meta competitive strategies, man, they're running all the same types. This could really hurt somebody, man. I've literally seen somebody flip this card over and the opponent just says, all right, I scoop. Like, this is a game-winning card right here. And I think it's a very viable trap card, not only in this format, but for the Toon build, especially right now, dude. So there can only be one. Very, very good card. It's in the side, too, so just in case you have to side out your Toon traps, you could just throw that in. Another powerhouse trap. Run the 3 summon limits, you guys. So the Toons, at most, could probably special summon about 3 Toon monsters in a turn. But usually, you know, if you're going first, obviously you're going to do all that. And then you're going to set this. And then this is for your opponent. Because a lot of decks, man, like Drytron, like Bird Up, like Invoked, like Sword Soul, they're just special summoning monsters like crazy sometimes, you guys. Special summoning all kinds of stuff. This limits them. 2 summons, it changes the whole freaking play, and it allows the Toons to breathe. It gives them a little bit of breathing room, dude. So 3 summon limit, man. This card is very, very nice. And last but not least, the last trap. Evenly matched, baby. This card right here straight banishes everything. This is better than a Regeki. This is better than a Lightning Storm. This is better than a Dark Hole. This right here could banish, like, you know, your opponent's forced to make a hard choice, dude, if they let this card go through. This could be ran either going first or going second. It's just more firepower. And the reason I decided to go with this in the side deck is because I would rather have Cosmic Cyclones in the main, because it's a quick play. I could respond to a trap card, or I could respond to another quick play spell. You know, if they happen to hit my thing, then I could chain, respond to it. This, I have to also sacrifice the battle phase. I got to go to the end of the battle phase to activate this, which it ain't too bad in the Toons, but that's why I kind of made the overall decision to put this in the side deck rather than the main deck. But it's still a really, really good card to play in today's format, man, to be able to banish those trap cards that just are just heathens to any build, man. It's just so nice to be able to banish whatever. So evenly matched, man. It gives your opponent a hard choice, and I love it. Okay, and before I end the deck profile, before I end the side deck, Nibiru. Nibiru was a very good one that I've been on the fence about for a long time running in the Toon build. There's actually a Nibiru Toon strategy where, you know, you special summon the Nibiru, get the token out, you know, you hit your opponent. Then you go into the comic hand on your turn and you steal the token, and it's a powerhouse token that could just beat over your opponent. The only thing wrong with that is the Toons, the archetype doesn't have things that pop monsters too often. I mean, I run the Regekis and stuff like that, but there's no really like Toon monster to really pop something on the field. So sometimes you might actually do a little bit of hurting yourself making that Nibiru, that big Nibiru token. And if for some reason you cannot get that comic hand and you can't steal that token, man, then you're pretty much just gonna get beat down. So to me, it's like a double-edged sword. It's too risky. I'm not a gambling person, you guys. I like to go for like more of the for sure thing, and Nibiru is just kind of one of those things. It's like, it's a very, very good card, but trying to use it with comic hand is kind of iffy. So that's why I chose not to run Nibiru in this build. It's always a pleasure doing this for you guys. You guys already know, man, Toons are my ultimate favorite archetype of all time, and I will continue bringing you guys updated Toon deck profiles as the times pass, as the ban lists come. Whether it's rainy or sunny out there, man, the MetaBroJake's gonna bring you guys some Toons, baby. Woo! And if you guys liked what you guys seen today on the channel, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, baby. Get the MetaBros on your guys' screens. Let's break through the algorithm together, baby. And if you ain't already, be sure to subscribe to the Super Meta channel, because you already know, man, the MetaBros are on to something huge in 2022. It ain't even big no more, you guys. It's huge, man. And it's just straight epic, dude. All over the place, man. You'll catch us here on YouTube. You'll catch us on IG. You'll catch us everywhere, man, out there on the street. Woo! And then if you guys are already subscribed to the channel, man, be sure to beat down that notification bell like there's no tomorrow to stay in tuned with Super Meta times. Because you already know, man, Toons are running wild over here, baby, in SoCal. Yeah. All right, you guys, that pretty much wraps up our Toon deck profiles for the day. I'm your main dude, MetaBroJake, representing the MetaBros. My dude Max is behind the camera.
Yo. Brian.
Hello. All right, my dudes. We'll catch you guys on the next one, though, my dudes. Peace out. Woo!